Sometimes life serves up the kind of morning you can't make up: a sunrise painted gold, the air just starting to warm, and three grown men with clipboards standing in front of your truck like they're deputized for the neighborhood inquisition. That was me, Spencer Thornfield, barely awake, coffee cooling on the dash, staring at Bryce Kellerman as he planted himself smack in front of my bumper. Clipboard held tight like it might deflect bullets or maybe just the truth. His two sidekicks flanked the truck faces set like this was the day they finally proved HOA board meetings weren't just about arguing over pool schedules and lawn heights. Emergency Inspection Authority, Bryce rattled off, trying to sound like he'd just uncovered a terrorist cell instead of a guy heading to Phoenix for a security consult. We know about the weapons and cash in your safe. Code first, then you can leave. You had to love the confidence of a strip mall dictator with no jurisdiction and a head full of daytime TV law. 15 years in Afghanistan defusing bombs, surviving roadside ambushes, and somehow here blocked in by a lawyer whose hands were shaking so bad I thought he'd drop the clipboard. I let the diesel idle, leaned against the fender, cool as Arizona morning. Calm down, you're blocking my exit, Bryce. That's called false imprisonment. He went pale, hospital sheet pale. A moment like that, you can almost hear a pin drop. Here's what's really wild, though. No one, not Bryce, not his goons, not even the local cops or the FBI saw what was coming. What would anyone do if their neighbors staged a roadside shakedown demanding the code to their safe? Maybe laugh, maybe call 911, maybe just maybe set in motion a little revenge that'd make the movies look tame. But let's rewind, because it's easy to judge without knowing how a decorated Army vet ends up as target number one in a neighborhood soap opera. My name's Spencer Thornfield, 15 years in the military, explosives disposal specialist. The job is simple: take things that shouldn't explode and make them boring. 2 tours in Afghanistan, all original parts still attached, a sixth sense for trouble and a deep hunger for peace and quiet. Bought my corner lot ranch in Willowbrook Estates a few years back. Looked perfect on paper. Middle-class slice of Arizona, 47 homes, all shiny, all tidy, gated entry, monthly HOA fee just $50. For a guy who wanted to be left alone, it sounded like heaven. Didn't take long to see the catch. Bryce Kellerman moved in from California. Real estate lawyer, could probably write his own parking tickets if he tried. He became HOA president faster than you can say property values. His wife, Stephanie, started measuring grass with rulers, snapping photos of crooked house numbers. You could almost smell the paperwork multiplying in the air, a mix of blooming Palo Verde and bureaucracy. 6 months and the HOA fee ballooned to $275. Enhanced services, Bryce claimed. Enhanced headaches, more like it. I just paid and kept to myself, focused on the job, consulting for high-clearance corporate clients, flying out to Phoenix and Tucson. Good money for a man who liked his weekends. Quiet, his coffee hot, his truck clean. Then one day someone decided my gun safe made me a neighborhood villain. Anonymous tip, they called it, said I was running weapons, handling suspicious military gear, hauling in cash. The cops came, poked around for 4 hours, saw the paperwork, and left. Detective Ray Martinez, a Marine vet, shook his head. Some people watch too much TV, but that wasn't good enough for Bryce. Where the cops saw a dead end, he saw opportunity, his own personal vampire feast. Suddenly, Emergency Inspection Authority became the HOA's mantra. My lot always needing checks. My travel schedule, suspicious. My old F-150, intimidating to children. They made it sound like beige paint and a dented tailgate was enough to terrorize Willowbrook Estates. Next thing I know, I'm cornered at dawn watching a big money contract disappear as 3 men try to shake down a combat vet with nothing but a clipboard and inflated egos. Bryce, savoring the moment, reads me my rights like I'm a terrorist, and he's the last man standing between order and chaos. Thing is, I know the rules better than they do. Read every boring page of the HOA bylaws. No weapons policy, no inspection authority, nothing that would let them do what they were doing. This was personal harassment, plain and simple. Just then, Dolores Ramirez appeared, her hands shaking, watering cans, sloshing. She was 82, but sharper than any blade. They destroyed the Hendersons, she whispered, military family, twin daughters. Hounded them for months. Forced them out. 3 other veteran families, too. Always the same routine: anonymous complaints, fake emergencies, harassment, until folks sold for peanuts and left. Standing there looking at Dolores, looking at the blockade, the whole thing snapped into focus. I spent years watching for patterns on the battlefield at home doesn't matter. And I saw it. This wasn't random. It was systematic. Prime real estate corner lots, targeted veterans singled out. The switch flipped inside me. This was war, just on a different front. 3 days after the morning ambush, I spotted 3 new cameras aimed at my property, pro-grade red lights, blinking in the dawn. Routine safety, Bryce claimed, hugging that clipboard like a kid with a teddy bear. Ongoing security concerns. Translation: they were hunting for an excuse to escalate. The air around my house thickened, board members driving past 8 times a day, photographing my truck, watching every move like prison guards. Bryce even started tailing me when I left, snapping photos at stoplights, pretending to be some private investigator. Amateurs. He had the subtlety of a parade float. Time for countermeasures. I put up my own cameras, night vision, motion sensors, audio, every legal bell and whistle. I called a few old Army intelligence contacts, started researching HOA law. Turns out every homeowner has the right to inspect all HOA financial records within 10 days of written request. Refusal triggers a state investigation, just like flipping a switch. I filed the request, then called the HOA's insurance. Unauthorized surveillance violated their liability policy. Remove the cameras or lose coverage. The walls started closing in for Bryce. Then my background check unearthed his greatest hits law license, suspended in Nevada, unregistered practice in Arizona, $47,000 in HOA payments to his own fake company. He was robbing the neighborhood blind and using harassment to keep anyone from looking too closely. Dolores introduced me to Janet Holbrook, retired teacher, paperwork assassin, 3 decades fighting bureaucratic nonsense. She had a file for everything. He's done this before, she said, showing records from 3 other military families. Same pattern every time. Veterans marked as threats, driven out houses, scooped up by shell companies linked to Bryce. We called a meeting at the American Legion Hall. 23 neighbors' faces shifting from skeptical to furious as I laid out the evidence. By the end, we had the signatures for a recall, a neighborhood watch, and a small army ready to fight back. Bryce. He went full dictator, anonymous flyers plastered everywhere, wild stories about dangerous veterans and weapons stockpiles. He even started sabotaging my professional life, feeding my clients rumors of federal investigations. Contracts worth thousands evaporated overnight. But I had tricks left. My Army network dug up dirt from California and Texas, 3 more HOAs, same scam, quietly settled. Forensic accounting revealed every big-ticket expense in Willowbrook was fake. Repairs never done, landscaping never improved, money always missing. The twist: one night security footage caught Bryce breaking into my garage, trying to plant evidence, movie prop weapons, training ammo, oregano in Army tins. He was so sloppy, so brazen, the only thing he accomplished was racking up federal charges. Then came the gas leak. Emergency vehicles swarmed the street, Bryce at the center, clipboard and all. The fire chief, gas company, everyone realized it was a hoax, an elaborate show for an audience of none. Permits revealed his brother had filed to develop my property weeks earlier. This was organized theft, plain and simple. Digging deeper, I uncovered insurance fraud on a scale that'd make bank robbers jealous. Every emergency meant a payout. Every payout to a shell company. Every shell company linked to Bryce's family. And then the game changed again. Bryce's wife, Stephanie, appeared at my door, scared, exhausted, ready to talk. She brought the motherlode records of every theft, every fake company, every transfer. She admitted she'd helped, thought it was tax planning, realized too late what he was doing. In the bombshell: if the board is convicted of fraud, insurance pays all losses plus damages, meaning the whole community could be made whole. We brought in the insurance investigator, a former FBI bulldog named Patricia. My evidence, Stephanie's files, Janet's records, all compiled, time-stamped, chain of custody verified. The more we found, the more we realized this was bigger than one HOA. This was systematic targeting of veterans, racketeering, conspiracy, insurance fraud across 4 states. Bryce escalated, sabotaged my truck, bribed neighbors for fake testimony, stalked me day and night, all caught on camera. When my security clearance was reviewed thanks to his phony FBI reports, the feds opened their own investigation. Suddenly, Bryce wasn't just facing a recall, he was facing the full weight of federal law. The night of the recall, 300 people crammed the community center. I laid out the evidence, click by click, file by file. Audio of Bryce bragging about bankrupting stupid veterans. Silence, then outrage. The FBI stood up. Mr. Kellerman, you're under arrest for RICO violations, wire fraud, mail fraud, domestic terrorism conspiracy. Handcuffs clicked. Clipboard hit the floor. 18 years, no parole. The insurance company covered every penny, paid damages, and helped rebuild the community. Property values shot up. Veterans moved in. Kids played safely. Barbecues replaced gossip. And me, I married Janet, adopted 2 kids, started a nonprofit to help other communities fight back. What started as petty harassment became national news, and the blueprint for how to crush small-time tyrants. The lesson, if there is one, comes not from some speech, but from the weight of experience. Tyranny relies on silence and fear. But justice is what happens when good people get organized, share the truth, and refuse to back down. The war ended not with a parade, but with kids playing on safe streets and neighbors finally at peace. So now I wonder, where's the line between order and oppression? When does community oversight cross into outright abuse? Maybe you've seen it. Maybe you've lived it. I'd like to hear your story or your thoughts on where justice really lives. Drop a comment, join the fight. Because there's always another bully with a clipboard and always someone ready to stand up.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.